and that is very minimal, but still have a chart. Competition. If you want that, okay, I stay competitive, so you must decrease the spread, but you must decrease the ask rate, your sale price, right? So if the more intense competition, smaller is the spread. So one currency is giving you 2% spread, other currency is giving you 5% spread. So which currency is more competitive? You tell me, 2% or 5%? Now let me tell you, this is yuan and this is dollar. So which currency is competitive, dollar or yuan? Guys, I need your participation. Kathleen, Ping Ping, Lota, Crystal.
Dollar.
Why is that?
Because the spread is smaller.
Exactly. So we can also say that dollar is more liquid. Why a person is reducing its ask price to decrease its spread? Because there are many buyers and many sellers. He needs to be more competitive so that he gets more orders. Look at yuan. Why yuan spread is higher? Why its ask price is higher? Because they don't see much buyers or sellers are conducting the transaction related to yuan. That's why its spread is higher. So by just looking at the percentage of the spread, you can find out that, okay, which currency is liquid, ability to convert into other currencies quickly, as quickly as possible. We call this liquidity. So look at that. When spread are lower, it means there is competition. Competition means competition is getting intense. Intense competition means there are more buyers, more sellers. So recall your discussion on our microeconomics in which we talk about the perfect competition. There are many sellers, many buyers, right? In that case, the profit is very minimal, right? So that's why they charge lower spread. So liquidity is also higher as compared to those currencies who has higher spread. Volume, like trade volume, it's not like that, okay, there are many buyers, many sellers, but they are having transaction in hundreds of dollars. Okay, I need $200, I need $400. There are like millions of people, they are asking dollars, but the volume is very small. Like average volume is $100. So it means that currency is not liquid. If the currency is volume is in millions of dollars, okay, I need 100,000. Okay, this bank need $1 billion. Okay, this company need $200. $200,000. Okay, this government needs $5 billion. So that is, so you see the volume of the dollar is increased. So currencies that have large trading volume are more liquid because there are numerous buyers and sellers at any given time. So we have two ways to check the liquidity. Number one, its spread is lower, plus its volume is huge. You get it? Guys, I need your participation. Haley, Fabian, Kathleen, Crystal, Jenluck, Lota, Not, Marilyn, Ping Ping. Right, guys? And now,
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Do we, when you're looking at spread, do you always choose the currency that's more liquid every time?
No, it depends. It's not like that you need dollars, and because it's not like that you need yuan, and since yuan spread is higher, so we buy dollar. No, it depends on your decision. If you want to buy dollar, you choose that dealer which gives you lower spread. And of course, you need to see that whether buying dollar is liquid or not. Should I make my decision in a short period of time, or should I need some kind of arrangements? For example, dollar, you know that it's very liquid. So if you made a decision after buying 6 months, so you can wait 6 months and you can just buy after 6 months. But if you need a currency which is rare, right? For example, for me, Korean won is a little bit weird in my country. So if I need something to import from Korea, and the Korean says that, okay, we don't deal in dollar, we deal in won. So I would be worried about calculating or gathering the Korean won. Right, Kathleen? So I need to see that whether it is easy for me to buy in won or whether it is costly for me to buy in won. And then you start thinking, okay, maybe it is cheap to buy in won, but gathering won currency is very difficult for me. Then I have to pay more spread, so my cost going to rise. Kathleen, you understand? And then you think that, okay,
Understand.
okay, and then you think that, okay, even though the value of the machinery or plant or whatsoever is cheaper in won, but purchasing won is very costly for me. And then you say that, no, look, no, maybe we try to buy from Philippines. And then you see the spread of Philippine currencies is a little bit lower, and currency, maybe the price over there is higher, but finding Philippines currency is very easy for you, and then you do the transaction. Actually, it's going to be cheaper for you to have currency transaction and buy the goods. So that's why the role of currency is very important. That's why we are having good amount of discussion on currency management here, also in coming lectures as well. And then currency risk. Wow, that is very important one. So economic, political conditions that cause the demand for supply of currency to change abruptly. Like I just told you, we call this currency risk. So what is currency risk? For example, you are in US and your supplier company is in China. Okay, you order a machinery to a Chinese firm, and Chinese firm says that I will sell you at 700,000 yuan for this machinery, but it takes 3 months to deliver. So you said, okay, deliver to me as soon as the machinery is at my doorstep. I would be giving you 700,000 yuan, right? So this is a 3 months time period, 0, 1, 2, 3. So right now you are here and you made a deal. So in your mind, you said, okay, because $1 is equal to 7 yuan, so I would be having $100,000, and I would be paying him after 3 months. No worry about that, right? But what happened? At the end of 3 months, when you receive the machinery, transaction complete, and you want to send 700,000 yuan to a Chinese firm. After 3 months, the exchange rate is now not equal to 7 yuan. Exchange rate of dollar is not equal to 7 yuan. It changes to 6 yuan. Now, how much dollars you need to send? If you convert your $1,000 because you reserve $100,000, it will only give him 600,000 yuan. But he said, I will be receiving in yuan, whatsoever is the dollar. I won't be considering dollar. I would be receiving 700,000 yuan. That's it. And look at your planning. Your planning is disturbed, right? You are paying your $100,000, but the Chinese person, the Chinese vendor or seller, he said, I don't need your $100,000. I need 700,000 yuan. And when you convert, you will be receiving 600,000. He will say, you give me more. So this mismanagement is occurring because of, and we call this currency risk. And this currency risk is sometimes so huge. Like, look at here, it's huge. Person is, receiving 100,000 yuan less, and you have to pay more. Right? Understand? Kathleen, Marilyn, Lota,
And
Fabia.
understand.
Yes, understood.
Good. Let's move forward. And now we are more into other numerical stuff. So let's talk about this. Now, how we interpret the currency. Like I told you, there is, $1 is equal to 7 yuan. This is how we pronounce it, right? So we can also call it 7 yuan per dollar. Yuan per dollar, right? So there are names. We call this direct quotation. Direct quotation is, it represents the value of foreign currency in dollars. So means, even if you are in China, okay, sorry, my bad, because this book is US centric. So consider yourself you are in US. So everything would be measured in terms of US dollars. So don't just get confused. So direct quote is, that is the value of foreign currency in your home currency terminology, in your home currency perspective. Right, guys? So in that case, if I talk about, if you are in US, if every currency is written in terms of $1, 7 yuan per dollar, 1.4 euro per dollar, I think. No, sorry, 0.4 dollar, 0.4 pound per dollar. So everything is in per dollar. So it means this is direct quotation. Indirect quotation, in which the local currency is your, I think I just made a mistake here. Okay, direct quotation is the value